Welcome to the Passionpreneur Experience, where I examine the thoughts, energy, and strategy a side hustler needs to grow their entrepreneurial dreams, all while they work their corporate 9-to-5 day job. I'm your host, Bridget Cobb. Now let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the Passionpreneur Experience. Today, I have the pleasure of having a guest on the show. My guest today is Rayee, and I'm going to have her correct me on how to pronounce her name because I'm not saying it correctly. But let me give you a little intro on who Kay is before she does that. Kay is the founder of the Road to Leadership, a fantastic expert and subject matter expert on leadership and leadership development. Kay has such an interesting journey that she's going to share with us today. Besides founding the Road to Leadership, she's done just about everything from professional dancer to I don't want to get into some of the careers she started because it's a spoiler and it's so good. But she's had a lifetime of not only corporate experience but coaching and training. So Kay is my kind of gal, and I just want to say, Kay, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you for welcoming me. It was really a pleasure to be here today. And my name,
Yes, please correct
you
me.
were not you were not that bad. It's K Rayée.
Rayée. I know.
Perfect.
All right, we'll take it. We'll take it. We're gonna take that one. Okay, perfect. Well, Kay, I'm really excited to have you on the show because I know we've talked a few times prior to taping this, and I love your story because it's so honest. It's such a true experience, but it really speaks to your ability to be so resilient. And I know we're going to talk more about that today. So I'd love to open it up by inviting you to just give us the rundown on your background and how you got to where you are today. And guys, this is going to kind of this is the journey I think that we all can learn from, and we're going to kind of dissect it as we go along. But yeah, I'd open you up to first tell us a little bit about the road to leadership before you get started, and then we'll jump into your past.
Okay, so the road to leadership is kind of my baby of 20 years of experience in making the workplace a better place. So I'm really passionate about female leadership, about helping your team to perform better and just to be a better self of yourself, if that sounds
Yeah.
correctly. Yeah. And the road to leadership started after my whole journey, um, and really takes together all the parts of what I am. It's all about helping other people. It's all about empowering other females and just have the strength to be your authentic self within your workplace, with your teams, with your career, with your business if you're running your own business. And it's all about all the roadblocks I encountered, but it's all about the roadblocks everybody's encountering as being female in entrepreneurship. So, yeah, that's why I started it. I started it online because I wanted to have the freedom to be able to travel and take my business with me. So that was one of my main concerns when starting a business, because I also have local business going on. But my goal was really to be able to travel and have this, like, my luggage with me, not in a negative way. My luggage of my business in
Right.
my suitcase, and
So,
I can just take it
yeah,
with me
baggage in a
wherever
good
I go.
sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I love I love that authenticity is such a big part of your mission because your journey speaks to your pursuit of authenticity. And we're going to get into your journey and how it came about. But I love the story of authenticity and how you continued to seek that out. And some of it was through experimentations. You took risks. You you bounced around. You trialed different things and looked for that authentic space. So I guess take us back, yeah, to pre the road to leadership, and tell us a little bit about how you got to that journey. What did it look like for you?
Well, first of all, I really want to share like a visualization that I have of my roads. I read last week a phrase, an expression that really spoke to me, and this is exactly what I am and why I'm having this experience. It was really about when you want to go to a challenge. Most of the time, you're afraid to jump off a cliff, right? So this person said in her post, and it really spoke to me, that you can also see it differently. Just jump and grow your wings while you're jumping. And when I read that, I really was thinking, okay, this is exactly me. I'm jumping the whole time. I have no clue if there's going to be somebody catching me, but I always grow my
Mm-hmm.
wings while I'm jumping. So what happens if you don't jump? Well, you don't have this chance to grow your wings. And that's what's making me jumping again and again and again. Um,
Yes.
so
Yeah, and that's powerful. That's a lot easier said than done, as we all know, to just say, "I'm going to get out there and I'm going to try." Another expression is "build the plane as you fly it." So there's there's a certain mindset that goes along with that, to be open to that type of, first of all, to be open to being uncomfortable and saying that's a space that I can be in, and I can flourish in that space. I can be in the unknown and still function. And that takes a lot of discipline. To You need to know yourself. You need to know how you act under stress. You need to be able to calm your nerves. So there's a lot going on to get into that space where you're comfortable jumping and growing your wings at the same time.
mm, yeah, I think it's part of my journey because, like you said, Bridget, I started my professional career as a dancer. So, at the age of 5, I started ballet classes. I went into a very high level professional dancing career. It's a professional academy. So, was doing that as a ballet dancer. And one of the things I learned over there was pushing through against all odds. My body
Mm,
wasn't a classic ballet dancer body. I was becoming a woman very early on in life, early in comparison to others, of course. Um, you are in front of a mirror every day, in and out, looking at yourself, growing breasts, growing hips, and being punished
mm,
for it. I had times that my teachers told me, okay, you're perfect, such a lovely dancer, but you just are too fat. And looking back at that, I think my journey of jumping and just going through with it and being stubborn because my dream is my dream and I want to obtain it, came from that because everything I could have put it into my way, I had it at the age of very young. So I'm speaking about 11, 15 years old. So,
yep.
so my resilience started there because it was just a way to survive in this world of competition, of just not being able to be yourself completely because you always had to fit into a standard.
Right. Yeah. And we can imagine that's so translatable. I mean, not only do we often have external voices saying you can't work a corporate job and have your own business, you can't have a family and it be an entrepreneur. You can't, I mean, we hear a lot of that externally, and we do it to ourselves internally. I don't think you're really going to be good at this. Let me compare myself to that person over there on Instagram. They're way better than me. So we're constantly getting that those voices that are telling us to quit and telling us to walk away from our dreams. And it's very, very easy to listen to that and just walk away, quit. And that's where that true resiliency lies, in coming in and saying, okay, I hear you, voice, whether that be internal or external, and I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing it. I'm just going to keep going because I don't believe you and you can't make me believe you. So, I mean, you're right. From a very early age, you're out there practicing and growing that muscle to say, nobody tells me when to quit except me. And I'm not telling myself to quit.
I think it's even it goes a bit further than that, Bridget, because for me, it's yes, it's having the goal in front of you and just going for it, but also have the courage to divide from it. And that's what's for me my road to leadership, because that's why I call my company like that. Um, is about is also have the courage when you have roadblocks in front of you to have the courage not just to go over it or dive into it or just try to break it, but also go around it and find other ways. And asking you this question every time, again and again, when you're in front of something, is this really what I want for myself? And when the answer is like, okay, yes, this is what make me vibrate, this is what make me thrive, this is what makes me feel happy, then yes, you just go for it. And if you cannot go through it, you just go around it. You can also always find a way, but as long as you're moving forward with everything, that's something, yeah, that helped me to make it more clear where I was going and why I was doing this. And at the time of 15 years old, I didn't have this reflection because I realized a bit later on in my career that dancing was not working for me because there were some values that were really not fitting into what I believed as working as a team, as being your authentic self, as accepting your body, as everything what I learned from management and leading other people. um, yes, I developed resilience, but I also developed a way of looking at myself and really thinking of, okay, how can I resonate with what I do and be really happy about what I do? And then let's take that road and not just the road where you're pushed into.
Yes. Yeah. Brilliant. So at this point, you're kind of coming into adulthood and saying, okay, what are my next steps? What am I going to do? What's my purpose? And that's kind of where your head's at now,
Yeah,
at this point in
exactly.
your life.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
my body was just leaving me because, of course, yeah, when you're on a diet all the time and working really hard, it's not very healthy. And it's also a time in adulthood, like when you swap over to adulthood, so you don't know exactly what's going on. There's lots of emotions going on, so yeah, you need to take that chance. And I'm really lucky to have parents that left me the choice to say, okay, Kay, if you want to be a dancer, fine, but maybe this is not the road to walk in this way to be a dancer. So let's find another one. And that's when I started my normal schooling again, and yeah, started working as a dancer at the age of 18. At the age of 18, sorry, and yeah, as a side hustle, let's say it, I was also doing lots of promotion, hostess work, whatever jobs I could have to provide for myself and for my dancing classes. And then suddenly I realized I was good in something else because I was coordinating events, I was managing teams, and my road towards that went really natural, and it just came to me, all these opportunities. And then, at a certain time, I was really missing dance because I was working as a recruitment officer, HR, and planning officer for a hostess company who organized events, corporate events, which I loved doing, but I was sitting on a chair most of the time of the day, which wasn't for me at all. And I really wanted to dance again, and have this chance to do it. So I decided to do the casting of Disneyland Paris, um, uh, parade and character department. And yeah, 6 months later, I moved to Paris and I started as a dancer working for Disneyland. So over there, after 3 years, I still didn't feel like 100% happy with it because my dream was to be on stage, not just in the park dancing. And I had the opportunity, with my background also, to become a manager within a team leader actually, within the show department. So I took that chance, and then my corporate road to leadership started right there.
Right. So this is your first kind of foray into corporate and coming into this space. And you now have a couple of different experiences under your belt. So, what really stood out for you then in your corporate experience in terms of what did you love and what did you not love so much?
What I loved was the training I got, the being with teams, helping young people to grow, because I had very different teams. I did 5 different departments. Also, what I loved was, yeah, young people, but older people also, to have a second career, to help them to grow and to see them grow. That's what I loved in corporate, because I was managing teams, and whatever job they were on, they always needed somebody to manage that, to implement trainings, to help them grow. So that was the main thing I loved. So
Hmm.
what I didn't like at all, was the way you still are put it into cases, why you are also pulled away from your family, because I was working long hours, I was working weekends. So the whole dynamic of helping my teams and being there for them, I just love that. And also be able to change jobs within the company, to have that security. Let's talk about that also, because it's
Hmm.
very comfortable to have the
Yes.
security, to know that your family is provided for, and that you can just grow from there. But then in some way it also cuts your wings, because sometimes, well, most of the time, I'm this person, um, let's call it also a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I'm really multi-passionate about anything. I can be good at anything I do. So it's kind of a curse at the same time as that it's a blessing, because it makes you hesitate where to go first. And yeah, I'm this box of ideas all the time. And then when you suggest ideas, most of the time they look at you and they're like, okay, you're crazy. What do you want to do? Are you sure? I'm not sure. This and this. And then you start doing one of them, executing one of them, and you know you're gonna succeed at it, but then you put so much energy into it to get it approved, to get it through all the stages of corporate company, all the procedures, all the and that's what makes me, as an artistic soul within corporate world, that was really hard for me. Not to be able to make decisions and just try it out and do it. Not being able to. yeah, be this bunch of ideas and just undertake stuff and go for your goal. And then, especially when my family came around, that was what made
Right.
the decision
So that's a
even
big conflict
easier.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting that freedom of pure creative license and the ability to shift and change priorities if you see so fit, or to have 100% control over the reins. You're now in a corporation.
Mm.
So I know that you end up taking a very unexpected twist and saying, you know what? I think now time for something completely different. So tell us a little bit about how that went down.
When I got my son in 2015, and when he was 2 weeks old, there was a big event that happened because my husband lost his job. So I was at
Mm.
home getting this phone call, and he told me, just, okay, I'm fired. So I can come home right away. So that was the first thing that happened in there. So we lost the security of one income, and then I was still in maternity leave. So I decided also to go straight back to work and to provide for my family. After 6 months of that, I was working for a department because I was just promoted after my son's birth, also for a department with over 100 people, and with a manager, with an M+1 that wasn't working well for me. He didn't have the same values as I had, so we just it didn't work. Let's say it like this.
Mm, right.
um, not gonna dive into that, but
Enough
it just
said.
didn't work. Enough said. It just didn't work.
Right.
And yeah, around Christmas time, I was working on a big project to help my team to have some days off for Christmas, because obviously it was a multicultural team. So people were really, it was really rare to have these days off with their family, especially around Christmas time. So it was close to their heart. And this was really a new thing to do for this team. So I really wanted it to work. And then, with the struggles with my manager, I woke up one day and my body just collapsed. And while I was trying to get ready for work, trying to put my shoes on while I was crying, and I didn't know how to yeah, to pull myself up and go forward. My son just ran over to me and gave me a big hug. And my husband came in and he just said to me, yeah, well, you're not going to work like this. Of course I'm going to work. I mean, it's Christmas. What do you think? I'm not gonna stay at
Gosh.
home when I'm trying to give days off to my team, and then I am going to stay at home. There's no way I'm gonna stay. But he made me phone my boss off, and he made me take the phone and phone him. And while I was sobbing and telling him that I couldn't come to work because I was just exhausted, he just said to me, well, Kay, I'm really disappointed at you. Um,
Wow.
yeah, you cannot just stay home right now, and I'm disappointed at you. And when I heard that, I really realized, like, okay, now I have two choices. I'm going to take care of myself, of my family. Um, I'm going to take care of my team, and I'm going to make the choices that's going to make me move forward, and not work with people that are holding me back or cannot recognize when somebody is like completely exhausted.
Yes.
So this realization made me understand that I couldn't stay there, but also that I needed to um, change paths, because I'm a very active person. Obviously, I'm all about movement, and when your body is just not wanting to move, even if you tell him to, it's really scary. And
Yes.
so I took 2 weeks off. I know it's not a lot, but I couldn't for myself. It was not possible in my head not to go to work for New Year's Eve, of course. And um,
Wow.
so yeah, I moved through and I make other choices, still in corporate life. But from that moment on, I realized that I need to surround myself with people that are good for me. And if that means taking a step back or taking another road, then let's be it. And so 2 years
Yeah.
after that, we started to look also into how can we change our life? What do we really want from life? What is a value for us? It was also the time when in Paris terrorist attacks started. Also, there were lots of strikes, so the environment where my son was growing up into was not very healthy. So yeah, we were looking at life with an environment where people were looking through blinders, and that made us realize that this was not what we valued in life. So we traveled along the world and decided after a trip, a holiday trip to Tahiti, to sell everything at home and move back here. So yeah, now we
Yeah.
are 1 year in. 1 year in, we arrived here last year with just our suitcases, 2 square meters of stuff, and started our life over again.
I mean, that is a huge change. You went from working a corporate job in Paris, saying, this isn't aligning with my values. This isn't an authentic experience to me. I think instead we will travel the world and we will go live in Tahiti. Now, that is something that, I mean, talk about taking massive action, really standing for your principles, really looking for what is going to work for you, work for your family, bring joy, open up opportunity, and you went for it. I mean, it's an amazing story that in itself of just getting there, and then of course the story continues because so at this point you have no job, and I'm guessing neither of you, right?
No,
When you
neither
land
of
in
us.
Tahiti.
Yeah, exactly. My husband started a few businesses along the way in between when he was put aside of his corporate job towards now, but it was not really running fully, let's say it like this. So yeah, we arrived here without any job, but yeah, you can kind of call it a bit crazy, but everybody thought I was crazy. But at the same time, for me, we needed that big jump to really start a new life. I'm not telling that everybody needs this big jump, but for me, this was what I had to do, is to create new habits, a new life around new values that were really dear to me, authentic. Also, I needed to just separate myself from the old completely. So yeah, of course, it was a 2 years roller coaster journey before we arrived here because our families didn't understand why we were doing this, or it took some time at least. Also, we're traveling completely to the other side of the world. There's a 22 hours flight in between. It's not cheap. So yeah, we're living on an island where there's just beaches and nature. So, well, there's some civilization, let's say it like that, but it's just a big
Right.
change from Paris. Let's say, yeah, I'm not
Definitely.
in the bushes either, but it's a big change, and where family values and culture is still very present. So that was the reason why we moved here,
Wow.
because nature is so
Yes.
fantastic, and also the values of working as a community, the values of respect, the values of being a family, connecting with other people are so rich here that we just fell in love with the people. So this was really what was closest to our hearts, what we really felt like, but we couldn't make that work in a structure or in um, an environment that was not going towards that. So yeah, so we just jumped and did this crazy
Wow.
journey. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and then it gets better. So
Oh
you're
well.
now you're now rushing towards your next adventure, your next challenge professionally. And but we're not quite to the road to leadership yet. So how do you keep progressing forward to that space?
Well, yeah, let's say that I arrived here and I had these big ideas into my head because I really wanted to do something else. And I believed that I could start a food truck here on the beach selling Belgian waffles.
And
So that was my first
just
idea.
to clarify here, have you ever owned a restaurant, worked at a restaurant,
No,
or
but I
do
managed
you have a
very different
strict
teams, so
family
why not a
recipe?
restaurant?
Why not? Right? Why not? Let's open a food truck. Okay.
Let's open a food truck. I was really believing I could franchise it and then have my teams because that was what I was good at. Also, Belgian waffles are really good. I can tell you, Bridget, they're really nice.
They are delicious.
They are delicious. So I was convinced that I was be will be able to, yeah, make do some networking on the beach because in in the middle of that, I would really believe that I wanted to do a management consulting business, but in my head, how strange it might sound when I say this now, it was easier to network and to construct that business through a food truck selling waffles on the beach than just going there as my authentic self with the experience I had. So
Interesting. Why do you think that is? Why? I mean, when you reflect back on it now, why do you think that is?
well, when you work for a corporate company, you're kind of protected into this cocoon. You don't jump without having a backup. You always take measured risks because other people are approving these risks. So
Yes.
I thought that profiling me as a food truck owner, I mean, anybody can make waffles, right? So there's no expertise behind that, and I managed teams. I managed also finances as a manager. So food truck is easy. So but then I started calculating, and then one day I was because we when we arrived here we were living in very poor circumstances because there was no houses available here on Maria. It was a big issue with houses to rent houses on a year basis. So we arrived in this very small cottage, wooden cottage, who was completely full of termites, who was yeah, well, very far of our luxury life in Paris, let's say it
Right.
like this. And I was trying to start this food truck company and trying to get the numbers right with selling a waffle at, I don't know, $2 or $3 a waffle, and
Wow.
then realizing that how the hell am I going to have a team doing this? And then, yeah, well, it just hit me that this was maybe not the thing to do right now. And then my husband told me, um, he said to me, "Yeah, but Kay, why are you wanting to do a food truck?" And my answer was, because I want to network. Everybody's going to the beach, so I'm gonna encounter so many leaders of the whole island, of course, by going to the beach because they're gonna all sell waffles, buy waffles with me.
I
And
love
when I was
that.
saying this, I was just like listening to myself, how ridiculous this sounded. Well, it made some sense, because they all go to the beach. There's nothing else to do here than go to the beach. But why should I go through all that just to do some networking and to understand leadership with the experience I have? So I realized it was more about me scared of positioning me myself as an expert or positioning me in something that I was good at. It was
Yeah.
more about that than about the connection or the lack of networking opportunities.
Yeah, that's another really powerful realization that I think you had, or I know you had along your journey, because you keep hitting these spots where, I mean, that's the beauty of, like, you jump out, you make the, you do the experiment, you take the risk, you try something new, and then there's always an evaluation period that comes back and says, okay, do how do I feel about this in my soul, and what does this mean to my heart? What is it? Does it make financial sense? Is it good for my family? And you've got all these measurable indicators that you use along the way to course correct when you need to. And it's all, of course, always amazing to have that supportive partner who's there also prompting when and asking a great coaching question there from your husband. And yeah, and leading you to really self-examine and say, why am I doing the things I'm doing? And they're clearly guiding you towards your ultimate purpose, which is really reining in on that leadership expertise to get you to where you are today.
Yeah, and that's when I started networking here, set up my own coaching business, training corporate training companies, and then suddenly it was just raining clients. So it really worked out really well for me. Also started to do team buildings, out of the box team buildings, because I'm a team building facilitator also. So I take teams into the mountains, set them up some challenges. For example, if they need to learn how to prioritize, well, I put them in the mountains and with some challenges to find their way back, or really gamify this approach and then bring it back to the office. So this was really successful here. And yeah, my road to leadership, let's say, started there. And then it was at that time that I was realizing that, okay, I want to also to do something online. I want to broaden myself because I still want to travel one day, um, and then not start over again, because it's just exhausting to start over your life again and again. So I really
Yes.
wanted to have something that whatever place I'm at, I can take it with me and not have to jump this road again and again. So that's when I started the Road to Leadership, my online company. But I still didn't put that much effort into it. That's when we met the first time, Bridget, um,
Yes.
when I was just starting out the Road to Leadership. And it was kind of kept like a side hustle, um, if you compare it to what I was doing locally. Um, and then in January, we had some financial issues. We had some setbacks because there were some cancellations, and also, yeah, island life is really expensive. So uh, we didn't sort out our budget right, and we had some bad, well, things like the car broke down and stupid stuff that made
Oh,
us
yeah.
a bit hard to get around. And yeah, that's when 2 months ago, being in this difficult situation already, but still having this local stuff going on, I knew that I have big contracts going on. So that's when I started concentrating a bit more to the road to leadership, to have like a base for my company. And that's when COVID hit it, Tahiti.
That's it. Changes everything. This, I mean, yeah, that's a big revelation. So, how did that impact you?
Well, let's say I would probably, I don't, I won't have any income until 2021 of local business. That's for sure. So, yeah, economically here is very difficult because the country is living from tourism. So, companies are trying to survive, and my biggest clients are companies like hotels, like airplane
Right.
um, companies, and so that's all falling away. And but what it made me realize that I had the right intuition about the road to leadership, because I started a few months ago, a few months before that, already focusing more on the road to leadership. And I saw it more as an opportunity because obviously I had so many things going on that I didn't know where to start or where to focus on, that now it made me realize that, yeah, I can could just focus on the road to leadership and grow from there. So I saw it more as an opportunity, and also as an opportunity to grow. And of course, this reflection wasn't like from one day one straight on. I had my week
Right.
of just panicking, and like everybody had, I think.
Of
But
course.
because I say it like easy like that, but it isn't. Um, but yeah, so I realized I could see it as an opportunity and see how I could help people to see this situation, this crisis, also as an opportunity. So I did some local um, actions helping entrepreneurs locally to get through the crisis. But especially, I saw that on the online businesses, there was like a very new market opening up. And because with the road to leadership, obviously, I concentrate on leaders, on entrepreneurs, on people who have a team or who wants to start a team, because that's where my expertise lies.
Yes.
But here locally, I also do gamification. I facilitate trainings, and my brand here locally is all about fun. How to train somebody while having fun, and think out of the box, new ways of learning. So that's something that I add to this layer of management and leadership coaching, with games and fun and gamification. So that's when I saw that lots of trainers and coaches and people who are in service businesses are having the same issues. They don't know how to transfer to online businesses. They have a really good coaching or training going on locally, but now suddenly they need to do it from a distance, as the leaders are having to lead their team from a distance. So that started me thinking how I could help them to make this, to turn this around and make this an opportunity to connect even more with people instead of distancing yourself from them. Yeah, that's when I came up with this new idea of doing webinars in a fun and engaging way, in interactive way, and that's what I'm focusing on now. So I could help also these solopreneurs being even more productive online, uh, making their business grow, so they could have a team, so they could grow and they could be empowered. And so yeah, we're taking it from there now.
Love
So
it.
again,
That's a real, yeah,
sorry,
you
yeah.
did it again, essentially taking a moment of let's say struggle or challenge, and then from there saying, okay, what can I make of this? Because there again, you get to that crossroads. You have the opportunity to either say, well, I guess my idea doesn't work and I guess I failed. Maybe, maybe I should throw the towel in or maybe I should quit. Or you have the opportunity to say, how do I pivot? What part of my skill set does work? How does it work? How could I utilize it? Or starting directly from your customer, where are they struggling now? Maybe they weren't struggling where they used to struggle, which is where I built a focus around that. But where's their new struggle, and how can I help them in that? How can I contribute? And that's led you to a really powerful offering that you have out now. So I love that ability to continually go back, start from your customer, and from their point of view, what do they need, but then bring your strengths to the forefront and say, how do I give the best of me to them, so that I can bring value. And you do it again and again. It's very exciting to hear about.
Well, it's all about what makes me go forward is helping other people, and how can I be, especially helping other women overcome the same roadblocks. So when it's more about setting your mind about, you have the opportunity, you have a way to overcome these roadblocks or just go around it, like I said before. um, so I was really thinking of, okay, what is in front of me now, and how can I go around it so I can still obtain my goal, which is helping other women grow their business, so, and overcoming these roadblocks. Yeah, and how can I do it in a way that is fun and engaging to me and to my clients? Because um, when I'm looking at online courses or at online webinars or whatever they are, they, because they're just growing like mushrooms right now. They're going around so many, so they're just throwing it at you. But all of them, or most of them anyway, the ones I saw, were kind of boring and not fun at all. So you just kind of get, I call it zoomed out. I'm a bit zoomed out right now because, yeah, uh, it,
Yes.
it's just too much of it. So, how can you, if you're shifting with your business to an online business, how can you still engage your customers? How can you still pull them in without being too salesy? Because everybody is dreading the pitch at the end of the webinar, where people are just throwing offers at you. And most of the time, you really feel uncomfortable with that as a
Mm.
customer, but also as a presenter. So, how can we address this differently and make it just a fun and engaging way where people are enjoying your time with you, and giving them really valuable content, so they just want to keep on coming to you because you have the expertise and you have the charisma and you have the way of putting it. How can you overcome the fear of being in front of a camera? How can you connect with people through a screen, etc., etc.? And so, when I transformed my courses in January to online coachings and online connections, this what was my strength, is that it was still fun, engaging, and true heart to heart conversations. So I wanted to have start with that idea and then transform it to something that everybody could use as a structure, as a cocktail, to engage people and draw them into your service, so they only want you, but bef- for who you are, and not just
Yes.
for the product you're selling.
I love that. So if we've got somebody listening right now that, is faced with a real challenge. Let's say they have a business that was really hands-on. Let's say they were a hairdresser, or they taught piano lessons, or whatever it was. What advice could you give them, um, to pick themselves back up right now and keep moving forward? What kind of advice might you give someone that's struggling to understand how to pivot?
I would ask yourself, you have to ask yourself one question. What makes me vibrate? What makes me happy? What do I truly love about what I'm doing? And that can be different things. It can be being in straight contact with your customer, making them happy, making them more beautiful. If you're a hairdresser, for example, I'm thinking of that example. It can be also teaching other people how to make themselves beautiful. So, what makes me really feel
Mm,
happy? What do I like about what I do? And then try to think of new ways of doing that. Like, let's say, yeah, you like teaching other people, so why don't you do online videos or even a webinar? I would love to see a hairdresser doing a webinar. I'm waiting for my first income incoming clients that has a hairdressing on, and it says, okay, I want to do webinar. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, how am I going to transform what I do locally into an online experience? So that might be like a blended online experience. So a blended online experience means that you still have part of it locally, but that you just use um, digitalization to market your business or to expand. But that can also be like a full online experience. Whatever you choose, there are so many fun ways and authentic ways to just be yourself and just grow from there. And
yeah,
that's what I would suggest. So, first of all, really look into yourself and ask yourself the right questions. If you don't have the
yeah.
right questions to ask yourself, ask your husband which questions you should ask yourself. I can borrow mine. No, I won't. But
There you go. That actually does work quite well. You know, ask a partner, ask a friend, ask a family member. And I also really like what you said there about, you know, what makes, I like how you said that. What makes you vibrate when you think about what you do? And there was a powerful moment there of reflecting back on how your customer feels when you provide the value. So, for instance, the hairdresser, that that the feeling that it emanates out of the customer at the end of the haircut is, yeah, they feel beautiful, they feel confident, they get these feelings that are associated with your gift, with your strength, whatever that talent is that you're bringing. How can you bring them that feeling in another way, still
mm,
using your strengths? And I
exactly.
really like thinking about it that way and saying, well, not only could I cut their hair, I could teach them how to do different things with their hair when it's well overdue for a cut. Or I could teach them how to properly trim your own bangs or, you
Yeah,
know,
and
or
not with the
fringe, depending
kitchen
on where you're from.
scissors.
Right.
That's what
So
I
they
did
they
with the
could do a
kitchen
couple of
scissors.
things. Learn your lesson. Do not do that. But yeah, so I think I like that concept of focusing on the customer, what how you make them feel when you deliver, and then how you can replicate that feeling in another way using your strengths.
Mm.
Really, really different way to kind of think about it. I like that a lot.
And when you do so,
So
you're not
yeah,
selling services, you're just helping people out. And that makes also a shift into your mind that you're, well, that changed for me my mindset that what if I'm not there to help them with that? What would happen then? So I'm actually, um, yeah, taking things opportunities away
yes.
from them and not trying to sell my products to them. So that was make me shift in my mindset of, okay, I'm going online now, because if I'm not, people are gonna miss my service. So
That's right. They're actually going to miss out without
mm,
having access to that. And
exactly.
so it's kind of our, you know, part of our mission, part of our duty to bring that forward in a way that they can access it. And if right now if that means they can access it online, then we got to get it online. I love that. So look, I could drill you with questions all day. I absolutely find your I love your story. I really really do. I love the learnings that you took out of each phase and how they kind of fed into each other. And I'm very excited about what you're doing now and how you've pivoted online and you've opened up this new global reach that I think is really going to bring a lot of value to people that are learning their path. They're building teams, and that just, I always feel you work with a team and it's just exponentially bigger. What they learn, they take out, they pass on to their team members, and so on and so forth as they build their own teams. So it's very exciting to be part of such a big domino effect like that. Is there anything that you want to leave our passionpreneurs, all of us listening to the episode today, with before we wrap it up? Because I do want to give you an opportunity also to share a little bit about how we can get in touch with you and what you have coming up that we may want to know about. So what can you leave us with to want us to make us want more? Because that's what we want.
Let's say that for me, what's really important is realizing that people are the heart of business. Through people, you can grow your business, you can make it whatever you want. But that means also through you, because you are a person, right? So I really look into your authentic self, see what's in there, what you're capable of, and then just build from that on, really believing what you are, and how people can relate to that. So that's why I wanted to share my story with you, because I truly believe I've been empowered by so many other stories that I really want to share this. Just be your authentic self, and yeah, you are the heart of your business. So just make sure that it can vibrate and it can empower others.
Yes, powerful words of wisdom. And I think we can all take something away from that today and, go back and look at what we're doing, look at our business, look at our, even as we manage potentially, a 9 to 5 and a side hustle, and, what that means to us. Is it really, is it filling um, our hearts, our souls, our minds? Are we driving towards our greater purpose? So thank you so much for sharing all that, Kay. I want to give you the opportunity. How can people get in touch with you? What's going on in the world of the road to leadership?
So you can go to my website, roadtoleadership.com, and especially in a few weeks' time, towards the end of the month, I will have one of the winning at webinars free webinar. So I really invite you to come over and join this live, because it's going to be all about how to do an engaging and fun online webinar to sell your services without being salesy, with giving lots of content and just have some fun. So this is the main thing I'm up to right now, and I really want to
Love
share
it.
that with you because I'm really excited about it. We had already some webinars going, and the feedback was just very, very, very positive. And it's not going to be boring at all. So join us live to really enjoy the whole experience, because it's all about the life, and so we can connect straight. And yeah, so you can find me at theroadtoleadership.com, or on Instagram, or on LinkedIn, or on Facebook. I'm all over there. So just
She's everywhere, guys.
I'm everywhere. Yeah, just type in roadtoleadership.com or my name, Rayée, and you will be able to find me through that.
Perfect.
So I would be happy to have
Yes.
you.
Or you can just click on the show notes right now, and I'm going to have, there's a link for you there. So you can jump to the website, or jump to her contact page, get in touch with her Instagram account. So just check the show notes right now. It's available for you. So you can hop on over there. But I want to thank you so much, Kay. I got a lot out of our discussion. I know I've heard your story a couple of times now, but I learn something each time I hear it. And it really does make me go back and reflect on some of the decisions I'm making, which I love. I love getting challenged like that and getting prompted to think a little deeper. So um, this was a long time coming. I'm so glad we got to record today and speak to each other. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Kay. I hope you had a good time.
I had, Bridget. Really, thank you for inviting me. It was lovely to talk to you and get my story out and share some of my experiences. But especially, yeah, I want to hear yours also. And that by that, I don't mean Bridget's ones, although it's really interesting too. But I would love to hear some more stories, because I think if women are sharing their stories more, we can learn from each other and we can grow together. So, yeah, just
You
let me
heard it
know.
here first. Kay is saying, get your story out. Tell Kay, tell me. Let's all get some conversation going. So, on that note, thank you, Kay, and thank you guys for listening as always. And we will see you back here next time on the Passionpreneur Experience. Bye. Are you building your side hustle business all on your own? Well, you don't have to. Engaging with and being accountable to a supportive community will increase your productivity and keep you on track. Join my private Facebook community, the Passionpreneur Experience, and connect with like-minded side hustlers just like you. Head to the show notes now for a link to the group and start building the business of your dreams.